Among the first 7 scrolls found in 1947, this fragmentary Aramaic text, now commonly known as the Genesis Apocryphon, was one of 4 scrolls originally purchased by Mar Athanasius, the Metropolitan of the Syriac Orthodox Church in Jerusalem. The scroll was eventually unrolled in 1956 after being purchased by the State of Israel by an American businessman and was later published in the same year. The text is written in a late Herodian script and is dated paleographically to sometime between 25 BCE to 50 CE. Whether the text itself is the autograph or a copy of it, however, is impossible to know. The Genesis Apocryphon narrates a retelling of events from the lives of biblical characters such as Lamech and Abraham. This work has typically been viewed as part of a genre called rewritten Bible, a literary style used in Second Temple period Judaism where biblical stories were expanded upon or rearranged in ways for the theological purposes of the author. The scroll begins with Lamech worrying about the nature and origin of his son. Lamech states that the conception was from watchers and the seed from the holy ones and to Nephilim. He confronts his wife Batanosh, who urges her husband to acknowledge that the child is indeed theirs. Lamech, however, does not believe her and runs to his father Methuselah, who in turn approaches Enoch for wisdom on the situation. Enoch eventually instructs Methuselah to return to Lamech and tell him, "The child is truly from you and not from the sons of heaven." This child, of course, is the biblical character Noah. This story situates this text within what is called an Enochic cosmological model seen in other texts from Qumran. Lamech's fear is that his wife has actually given birth to a giant from whom evil spirits dwell inside, a story perpetuated in the Jewish books of 1st Enoch and Jubilees. An exorcism is recorded within a later column, though this story centers around the patriarch Abraham. Columns 19 and 20 record a retelling of Genesis 12, elaborating on God's protection of Sarah against Pharaoh for a period of 2 years. The biblical account reads as follows: "Now there was a famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe in the land. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, 'I know that you are a woman beautiful in appearance, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, "This is his wife." Then they will kill me, but they will let you live. Say you are my sister, that it may go well with me because of you, and that my life may be spared for your sake.' When Abraham entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. And when the princes of Pharaoh saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. But the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh called Abram and said, 'What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her for my wife? Now then, here is your wife, take her and go.' And Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all he had." Several lengthy expansions have been added to this narrative in the Genesis Apocryphon. How God stopped Soan from sleeping with Sarah is greatly elaborated. God accomplishes this by sending a chastising spirit in order to detain him. This chastising spirit is also referred to as an evil spirit and a spirit of foulness. Pharaoh calls upon his own healers and court magicians to heal him, but they are unsuccessful and attacked by the evil spirit. As a result, one of Pharaoh's servants asks Abraham to come lay hands on him so that he may be healed. Abraham then lays his hands on Pharaoh, causing the plague to be removed from him, and the evil spirit was rebuked, expelled, or exorcised. The spirit in the Genesis Apocryphon seems to act in a way similar to what is found in 2 Chronicles 18:18-22 and 2 Kings 22:19-23, where God uses a lying spirit to enter the mouths of the prophets in order to entice King Ahab. The text does not explicitly explain how the evil spirit kept Pharaoh from sleeping with Sarah, though the violent attacks suggest that it was a similar way to how the demon Asmodeus in the Book of Tobit kept a different Sarah's fiancés away. She had been married to 7 husbands, and the wicked demon Asmodeus had killed each of them before they had been with her, as is customary for wives. Josephus retells the story found in Genesis by attributing her protection to an outbreak of disease and political disturbance. Likewise, the Jewish philosopher Philo explains it as an almost intolerable pains and grievous penalties. He filled his body and soul with every sort of hardly curable plagues. All appetite for pleasure was eradicated and replaced by visitations of the opposite kind, by cravings for release from the endless tortures which night and day haunted and racked him almost to death. Rabbinic tradition gives an analogous interpretation of this verse. Rabbi Levi said, "An angel stood there all night long with a whip in his hand. When Sarah said to him, 'Strike,' he struck. When she said cease, he ceased. The laying on of hands is unique to the Genesis Apocryphon among early Jewish literature, only being paralleled in the New Testament. The Aramaic term for laying on of hands and the verb rebuke are translated in the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Hebrew Old Testament, as epithemi and epitimao. While many passages in the Gospels mention the laying on of hands and rebuking of evil spirits, only Luke 4:40-41 contains a reference where both of these elements are brought together as part of the exorcism rite. Additionally, unlike Abraham in the Genesis Apocryphon and Paul, who was said to have laid hands and prayed in Acts 28:8, Jesus is never viewed as praying as part of his exorcistic ministry. That the Genesis Apocryphon attests to the practice of laying on of hands of the possessed for the purpose of exorcism, it may be that this ritual action was popularized during this period, close to the life of Jesus, hence Jesus' utilization of this method, otherwise unmentioned in early Judaism. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons to be notified when new videos come out.